Oh, look at him! Look at him flexing. Look at him flexing.
I'm so far away from my phone.
That's because we got to be socially distanced. Haven't you heard the news? We got to be socially distanced. You get too close to me, we're risking it, man. Hey everybody, welcome back. Blacktop Banner. This is episode 29. It's going to be, I got a good guest. 29. Can you believe that, dude? That's crazy. I don't remember what guest you were before, but I got my first repeat guest. And it's a repeat guest because over this time we've become friends. I get up early, sometimes 4:30, 5 o'clock. And I usually don't have a lot of texts waiting, but sometimes I do have texts waiting about that same exact time. Because one other person that has become my friend and is awake at that time and knows it, and we did it here today again, because I texted him about jumping on the podcast today, and he said, "Man, it's early on a Sunday," and I just at the same time texted him and said, "I've been up for 2 hours." He sent me one at the exact same time saying, "Just joking, I've been up for 2 hours," so I already knew that. But Chris Love, with Love's Asphalt Solutions. I've seen some videos and YouTube videos and stuff since he's been doing his thing here over the winter or over the summer, and we're talking about winter and kind of getting into it and different things. So I wanted to get him back on here. Chris, how you been doing, man?
Been good. Stress to the max. We've been facing hurricanes left and right, but we've been getting some work done in between them, and we've been continuing to grow the company, the brand. Starting another business down here that kind of piggybacks off the asphalt company, and also creating systems for both companies that will propel us to the top, man, especially in our field down here in Louisiana. So.
Dude, the one day you texted me, it's all it said was systems, all caps, and it said, "Boy, you better get some systems in place if you don't have systems." You're like, "You got a system?" I'm like, "Well, I got a folder I take to work with me every day, and if it's not gonna rain, we go to work." That kind of system. You're like, boy, you know what I'm talking about. So you sent me a couple screenshots of some stuff that you do and put together for yourself and stuff. When did it hit you and why? Were you like, systems, dude? We gotta have systems. What was it? Was it the fact that everything was stressed out because we were in the season and we got bombarded once the dam broke free? What was it where you were like, systems, man?
I think, I've been nonstop stressed for 5 years now. I don't think the stress goes away or the work gets harder or easier. But what I've always preached is, and one thing that I've learned through the years is that if you want to be $100 million business, you have to operate like $100 million business, or whatever your goals are, your money, your monetary goals. And one thing that I think a lot of the large companies do, because they can afford to hire the people to keep them all in track, is they have systems. They have a system from the moment they turn on their shop lights to the moment they shut them off, and then into the night. They have systems, a way to not only track progress, track costs, to keep track of their workers, admin and field workers, but they have a system for everything. And that's especially important for people who work on their business and not in their business. Right. So one of the big things that I'm trying to do is get out of the operator role and into the manager role.
Right.
And to do that, one way to do that is to create a system that I can hire almost anybody to come in and fill a certain position, and they have everything laid out for them. Okay. And it's systems, and so we just slowly started creating them, and they kind of overwhelmed my life over the last 9 or 10 months.
What did you find? Like switching from? I mean, I know it's kind of chaotic. Like in my mind, it's like the Wild West when spring hits, because you're getting shots from everywhere, and you're trying to shoot shots back to keep it back. Did you find it even harder to put the systems into place that are different than what kind of rhythm you had going, or did it help like immediately? Because I know you're a thinker, So I know you already had half the idea and the bones of how they were going to work out already in your head. But when you transition it from you, because everything makes sense to you in your head, because you explain shit to me sometimes where I'm like, what? You know? So, but I know that they work. I know they work for you. What is it hard to get that implemented outside of your brain into your business, or did it transition fairly smooth? And how is it going as far as what do you do? I'll ask you another question after, but I finish that one.
That was good. Yeah, it's absolutely hard. It's ridiculously hard because I have a lot of issues pulling it from my head and putting it onto paper. So we're still far away from being 100% with how I want it to go and to transition everything. But the one thing that I've kind of thought about is that I don't need the systems to work today. I don't need them to work tomorrow or even next year. I need to start the process. And in order to start the process, you have to start day one. And even though on day 2 or 365, it's not perfect. It's not going to be. It's a long game.
You modify them as you go then, Chris?
All the time. One thing that we started this year where before I would call up a guy I knew and be like, hey, Joe, do you want a job, man? Come on. And they would come in and I'd throw them a t-shirt and I'd write their name down and I'd give it to my wife and she'd put it in QuickBooks and we'd start cutting them a check every 2 weeks. Well, now there's a whole hiring process. So if you would go to, honestly, anywhere, McDonald's, Walmart, anything,
right.
They fill out an
established company.
Get vetted and. So we started that process this year and we created systems for hiring and my HR person handles that, I say my HR person, I was fortunate enough to be able to afford to bring my mother on as our human resource person. She's been in the social work field for 30 plus years.
Well, I guarantee she's going to keep you and everyone else on check if she's your mind. She's been in social work, boy. I can tell you that much. Yeah. So that's good. That's good.
So she came on, and that's basically a lot of things that she was doing the last probably 7 years in social work was creating trainings and policies and stuff like that. So I brought her on and full time, and she kind of took the HR section of it, and she's been taking classes and stuff to learn how to the angles that need to happen and the laws and stuff like that for the construction industry. And
sure.
So she created the hiring process, and me and her together created the systems for the hiring process and, write-ups and accountability and stuff like that. And then me and my wife, who handles all my billing, we got together and figured out a way to, from the time that the job is complete, what the job cost is, to give her that, to keep track of the receipts and the materials and all the money. So we created systems to make that happen as well. So,
what do you do when, and maybe you haven't encountered it yet, because like I said, I know you're a thinker. What do you do if one of those systems fails and it's just not working? They
fail daily, and it's usually my fault. The reason most of them fail is because I'm creating these things for a group of people to handle.
Yeah.
But we probably have 12 to 13, 14 different policies and systems in place, from the hiring to job reporting to job logging. And I mean, there's a system from the day we get a phone call to the day we finish a job.
Yeah.
Like there's a complete step process to follow-ups and all that stuff. And a lot of times the ball gets dropped with me, because not only am I creating more systems and spreadsheets and keeping up with the maintenance and materials and keeping the guys in line, now I'm trying to follow my own systems, and a lot of times it gets dropped with me. But,
you just adjust, huh?
We adjust.
Rather than let it completely fail, they adjust.
If the system is followed, it rarely fails.
I got you.
Rare. Like it is pretty spot on. And if there's something that isn't right, like we had an issue with our receipt trackers the other day. And my wife came to me and she said, "Look, I'm having issues because all of our credit card receipts are on the same receipt tracker."
Oh,
Well, we just created different programs for different credit cards, and we solved the problem,
yeah,
And it was something that was fixed like that.
I got you. So when it comes when it comes to your systems, there's one for the guys, because I seen your I made you send me a picture one time of just when you get the call, and then calls to be looked at, and then calls that went to look at but are in limbo, and then jobs that call back and said yes, and then whatever. So once that leaves that system and it's good to go, you give it to your guys and they're on a system for getting the job completed, everything like that, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
So we have another system. So once the contract's signed, we have a system that we create a job folder.
Mm-hmm.
And that job folder, along with the briefing, every morning that we have a job, we come into the conference room,
Brief.
the room we're in. We have a projection screen. They come in for their safety briefing for that job. And that complete job is, we do a complete overview of that job. And then the project manager, who is now me, I went back to the field about 3 months ago. We had to let go of our project manager who, anyways, so
Yes.
I went back to
Everyone knows how that is, boy. Everyone knows how that is. Yeah, you don't got to explain that one.
So we were looking to make money and not waste money. But anyways,
So some of these systems you went in a little bit more in depth on YouTube, right? Love's Asphalt Solution YouTube page.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, if anyone's curious as far as what we kind of talk about, you and I regularly, and then I don't get a glimpse into what's into your brain until you get on a YouTube video or something like that. But I get a little bit of it, but I don't get all of it. But if they want to see them, I know you've been putting some stuff out there. But the problem is with us, same thing with the podcast and with all of our social media. In the middle of the summer, we ain't going to be on it like we are right in the wintertime. You just have a little bit more time to get stuff out of your brain and off your chest. And I know you got some of them on there, so I'm going to be looking for more now that we're coming into winter a little bit. But to bust you free from the systems, because I know that's that's one of those stressors, boy, that puts you on your shoulders probably. I want to transition talking about that, like winter. Do you guys switch up? Like, do you go from? I know you're in Louisiana, so do you go to a winter mode at all, or is it same thing?
In the south, up north, you guys got winter months. We kind of have hurricane months down here,
Sure.
and in wet months. We do get shut down for weather every now and then, but it's more like this week we're going to be in a cold front, or not this week, but
Coming
just saying in into December, early January, we'll be in a cold front. That cold front will hit for a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we can go out and we can't pave or seal coat or anything like that for a week. And then the next week, it's going to be back up in the 50s, 60s, and 70s again.
And go right back at it.
Yeah,
so there's no winterization of nothing. There's no, hey, calm down. We're going to have to lay off half the guys, do this, and then bring half the guys back. None of that. It's pretty.
Nope.
Now, one thing I wanted to ask you about that, because I see you guys working regularly, but we're up here, it's insane because we're crunching probably a year's worth of work into 6 months to try to get everybody done. So for us, like it's insane to cram all that in there. Granted, we might not keep up with everybody else talking number-wise up here from the north as they are some in the south, but I know that we're in a hectic state. The suppliers are, the manufacturers are, the contractors are, and even customers at the end of the season are ringing the phone like crazy to get it in before winter and stuff gets here. So that was kind of my question, was just like, does that happen? But that little bit of slowdown don't affect you guys too much as far as the wet months.
We talk about the phone calls, and somewhere right around here, and it's been happening every year for the last 3 or 4 years, that right around this time, we'll get 10, 15 phone calls a day, 5 days a week, sometimes on the weekends, and they will call and say, hey, and it's all these businesses. We're 99% commercial, commercial industry.
Sure.
We don't deal a lot with residential.
As far as your business, right? As far as Love's.
A lot of these companies will call right around this time because their tax guys are saying, hey, you got $15,000 to spend, right?
Right.
Last year we crunched, I don't know, my fourth quarter is usually my biggest grossing quarter
Really?
because of the businesses that will call.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's such,
I mean,
that's such a crazy difference.
we can probably handle 4 or 5 more jobs before we just can't get to you till next year.
Crazy.
You know.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you got guys like us trying to cram 4 or 5 driveways, decent farm lanes and stuff in each day to get them done. But we got some projects left yet that are going to call for some more days. And the paving, of course, is just COVID has made everything crazy. And I know we were talking beforehand that me and you should have masks on. That way we make sure we're all right here on this podcast and stuff. But
far away.
Yeah, so yeah. But you got me across the table, so I think I'm all right, dude. I think I'm all right. I know last time when you and I were talking, we were talking about goals and things and the way you wanted to see the year go. To get away from all the questions about winter and systems and everything else, did it go generally contractor? Did it go how you wanted it to go? Better? Because it was a crazy year. Everyone knows it was an insane year for us to kind of start out and wonder what the hell is going to happen here. But did it change? Did your expectations and the results change because of the way the year happened, or did you kind of hit what you were hoping to hit? How did it go?
We've exceeded. Every year. Anybody that doesn't know my background, we started with $600 5.5 years ago, and it was purely by accident. Walked into a place, was talking about how their property needed seal coating and crack filled and all this stuff, and this guy turns around and he asks if I can do it. Stupidly, I said yes, and then Love's was created, and we kind of jumped over there. So, when we made $25,000 our first year, and I said, wow, I made $25,000 in 2 months or 3 months. How am I going to beat that? And then 25 turns into 80, and 80 to 6 figures and 6 figures beyond. Every year I say, I can't believe I made this much. I'm never going to be able to do this again with what I have.
Right.
And every year I blow it out of the water, and the ratio gets bigger and bigger every year. And again, this year I'm going to say, I don't know how I can beat this year.
That's good news.
With what I got. But the one thing that's been different this year is because of, we're trying to get away from systems, but because of the systems and the bidding, and the way I bid projects and the way I keep track of projects, our bottom line has increased. I can't even give you a percentage, but high. I've had a large return this year versus any other year.
Really? Yeah. That's good news. I from what I've gathered, everyone's had a decent year in our industry. So I think we're lucky to be in an industry where we can give estimates without seeing people if we have to, and our crews can function without having to be on top of people or go into a building or anything like that. I think that, I'm not saying that we're bulletproof, but man, we was lucky to fall into that category as businesses, I would think.
And a lot of commercial properties pulled the trigger on a lot of projects, and I don't know if it was because of the grants and the loans that were given out to businesses because of this pandemic or whatever, but it seems like on the commercial side, a lot of people spent a lot of money on parking lot related repairs this year. So we only really had like a 3-week scare, and then after it's been gloves off. Yeah,
we had people or businesses that for our commercial work that were like, well, we're going to hold off until we figure out what's going on, and maybe a month and a half later they're like, all right, come whenever you want to and get it started and stuff. And actually, we had a lot of for our commercial work, like add-ons and extras, like, well, we're going to do a little bit more. Yeah, we're going to do a little bit more. And I was like, oh, all right, yeah, that sounds good to me. Boy, we better get it while we can get it. Do you think, I know we're trying to get away from systems and everything in this conversation, but for people that are starting out, what should be the first system they should make? Like, because I know everyone does. You get a call, you write it down, you go see the people. They tell you yes or no, or you leave them a slip, or whatever. So that system's kind of in place loosely. There's a way to refine that. I know that you have refined it very much. But what is the first one outside of that somebody should do if they're starting out? Like, what's going to help them? Like, what do you think has, of all the systems, what one gave you the biggest return?
The bidding system should be. There is this weird idea that there is a industry standard on how you should bid projects, and I think it's one of the stupidest things. A lot of people watching this may disagree, which I really don't give a shit, because I have tried and I haven't perfected it, but I have tried it, and I have proven that if you learn how to properly bid a job, and it's a simple equation of your cost versus your profit and everything in between, and you bid it that way, you will always be profitable. And so I think the first system you should implement is a bidding system on how you make money, and not, oh, we charge 20 cents a square foot to seal coat, or 7 cents a square foot to seal coat.
Because you and I were talking, it goes way beyond that. That's not your cost. Like, that's a piece, right?
And look, and I see it on Facebook so many times, and anybody that follows me always sees me comment when somebody posts something so foolish of, what do you charge per square foot?
Yeah.
And I always say the same thing. Cost of goods plus overhead plus profit plus tax equals your job cost. Period. Yeah. And if it's 11 cents, it's 11 cents. If it's 25 cents, it's 25 cents. But why would you ever want to do a job to where you're not making money?
Yeah.
So I hate this industry. I didn't get into this industry not to make money.
Right.
I started, I got into this industry when I was 13, and I absolutely despise it for multiple reasons. But we make good money, and I truly enjoy seeing the transformation of property.
I don't believe you despise it. It says loves asphalt right above your head. Loves it. Loves asphalt. I don't believe you hate it. But I seen one the other day.
I love the process. That's what I love. I love the process. I love employing people. I love giving people an opportunity to be better. Yeah. And a lot of people that we employ.
It's the building. It's the building. You're building something with your hands. You're building it with your mind, build it with your heart. It's kind of, the process of it is pretty neat when you realize what you're actually doing besides just making money or trying to make money or whatever. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, but yeah, that's right. It's the process, and I'm absolutely in love with the process, and it's a marathon. So
yeah, you hear that ding? That's probably Charles. That's probably Charles Baker asking me what I'm doing. He's probably taking a 2-minute break from striping stripes out. But the guys are all, it's this time of year. We all kind of had the same thing. I talked with those guys, him and Dustin Natinka and everybody, just about that whole thing about what are we going to do. I think they have systems in place. You had systems in place. We got systems in place. Those guys that when something hit, whether it was a pandemic or whatever it was, they had a system. They stuck to the systems, and all of a sudden you started catching traction and going. Some of these early guys, the young guys, that stuff hits, and they were banking on getting going and having one project in their hand to take them there. I think that hurt for a little bit, get going, and I think that's just probably the way it goes. But
yeah, especially if you don't have a way to keep accountability of your money when you do hit that rainy day. You always hear people talk about having a rainy day fund, and that's for instances like when this pandemic hit. And I don't know about everybody else, but we had almost an industry shutdown for 2 weeks or so.
Yeah,
and we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. This could have lasted a month. It could have lasted 6 months. But financially, thankfully, we would have been okay.
Yeah.
We would have pulled out of it. Now, if we would have went past 6 months, I don't know. But
yeah. But by that time, other companies are falling off, and some of that work's going to come to you if you've had that rainy day fund. So I mean, no one wants to see anybody have a hard time, I guess. But if that doesn't mean that you ain't gonna keep yourself ready. I think you're right. Rainy day fund is a good establishment.
Have a hard time.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you do. Hates asphalt solution. Loves asphalt solution. That's right.
I want to be the sole provider of asphalt maintenance in the Acadiana area.
Okay, that's fair enough. Fine. And you cannot like everyone in the Acadia area that does asphalt, but outside of there, you have to love them. That's going to be how it goes.
Besides that, yeah, I love everybody
fair enough.
else.
Until you conquer Acadia, then you're going to take somewhere else. I want to be Louisiana by then. Man, for what it is, I seen something the other day. And I just want to get your opinion because we're friends. We talk about everything from time to time. I want to get your opinion on something. I seen a post the other day on Facebook, and I barely get in there anymore. Huh? It wasn't you? No, it wasn't you. But I barely get in there anymore. I pop in, and see what my friends are up to and stuff like that. I just happened to scroll by a post, and it was somebody that everyone probably knows. And the post said something to the extent of, do you think it's right in our industry to charge 2 to 3 times what the material costs? And that was it. And then underneath that, it said, I personally don't, or whatever it said. I just wanted to get your opinion real quick. What do you think, man? I'm out here contracting.
Cost of goods versus overhead versus profit versus.
But how much? How much is that? If you can get, this is my opinion. If you can get 4 or 5 times that, and you can, and you're a hell of a salesman, fine, whatever. If they choose you, fine. If they're worried about cost, they're going to choose the cost over whatever it is. So if you can do it and pull it and not be a shyster at doing it, and they like it, and they're glad they paid that much. Because I'm going to tell you something. Me and 2 people go together, I'm going to offer multiple times more value than X, maybe. So I should get paid multiple times X value versus whoever. So I was wondering your opinion on that. Like, do you have an opinion? If someone said, Chris, it's not right for you to charge X amount, it's too much, but the people love it. Who does that even fathom in your brain? Tell me about that.
I am a firm believer. I will always bid the way I bid. Like, until I hire somebody that is far smarter than me, I am a fan of getting as much money as you possibly can.
Yeah.
If they were paid 2, 3 times, look, a lot of these guys that do these state jobs down here, these large jobs, that's what they do. If a job costs $1 million, they charge 1.8 or 2 million. That's how they do it. That's why you have these sons of bitches standing on the side of the road making $28 an hour with their finger up their ass. If you can get 2 to 3 times and you provide above standard quality,
there's a reason.
Get 2 times above.
Yeah.
Get 2 or 3 times above.
Yeah.
It costs money to run a business like ours.
Yeah.
It costs a lot of money.
I know right here I got to get a better price than what a lot of my friends do down in the South because we're only popping for 6 months. I don't have that steady thing. So I got to get at least double what those guys are getting if I got half the time. It only makes sense. So I just was kind of curious about that. That was the only question I've had and the only post in a long time that kind of burned my ass because there's so many variables that goes into that question and statement. And maybe it was just a conversation starter or whatever. I understand. I get it. Sometimes people just have conversation starters or whatever. But I was trying to think who is probably the most tell it like it is opinionated SOB that I know that I'm going to talk to real quick. I found him. So that's kind of why I wanted to ask that for you. Because I don't want, dude, if I would have known my value 5 years or, when I first started, I probably should have charged more starting out because I was given just as good as value I see as I am now. But I didn't know that. I just thought that's how I was or whatever. But I couldn't fathom that.
It's not the fact that we're charging more per ratio than we did 5 years ago. But 5 years ago, it was me with a tote tank, a track pump, a squeegee, and one other guy with some second-rate equipment. And now we have, a Seal-Rite 850, bulk tanks, sim line,
Your costs went higher. Your costs went higher for yourself.
I have quality equipment I have more equipment in my area than anybody else does.
Right.
I do. I have the melters. I have the professional grade seal coating machines. I have a decent paver. I have good equipment, good trucks. And because I have these things that allow me to do the work better, faster, more professional, my cost to come get my company is more than you're going to pay for some Joe Blow that has some homemade seal rig with the 2-inch trash pump. Then you're going to get Chris Love 5 years ago.
I think about that. Yeah, that's what I think about myself. As I think, me now, my cost, not just because of time and inflation or whatever, but me now, my cost versus my cost when I started. You're going to pay two different prices, but you're also getting two different equipment guys. You're getting two different companies at those two different times. And I believe that if you're selling your business and your company, which I don't really call it selling, more as presenting. We're presenting ourselves. We're presenting our businesses, your businesses, my business, and us as the owners. We're presenting that. So that's what we're wanting the customer to understand they're getting for this elevated price. Because I couldn't run this company at the prices I was charging when I had my first tank, man. I just in the bed of a pickup truck. There's no way. You know what I mean? So
you grow, and because of your growth, your quality is exponentially better. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if you want quality versus price, now in my opinion, if you get 2 or 3 times over material costs, get 2 or 3 times over material costs. Sure. I tell you right now, I charge 2 or 3 times over material costs. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's really nothing in comparison. No. Because it may cost $2,000 in material, but it may take us 4 days to do a job, so I may charge $3,000 in overhead.
Yeah.
So there is double what my material cost is, and that's not even including my profit and the taxes. Yeah. So, I'm a firm believer in getting as much as you can at a fair rate, but if you're charging premium prices, you better give above premium result.
Yeah.
And I don't know about your area, and I don't know about a lot of other people's area, but I am confident to say I am the best company in the Acadiana area for the asphalt maintenance industry. Not the paving industry. I still got, if I had the money to buy better equipment, but man,
you will.
If I'd be out 2 years ago. I hate moving.
So when are we going to see Chris Love presenting something somewhere? When am I going to be able to come to a Chris Love system class? Because I'd like to do that at some point. Do you have time for anything like that, my man? Because
look, man, I work 16 to 18 hours a day. No. So I have 9 to 7 hours additional that I can work a day.
Yeah, right. Boy, you work 28 hours a day. I know you.
I would work 25 hours if they had it, just because I am in love with the growth. I love it.
It's pretty cool to see, ain't it? It's like it's an endorphin rush sometimes, I think.
I'm exhausted, but look, man, when I unlock the door to my office, my office building, and then walk through my office, and I go to my warehouse, and I look at everything that I have, and I think about 7 years ago,
where that was,
8 years ago, I had to charge $1,500 on a credit card because me and my wife had no money. Mm-hmm. I had 2 kids. I had no way to give them Christmas stuff. And then I lied about a credit card application, and they gave me $1,500, and we blew it all. When I think about how broke I was 8 years ago, to where I walk out and I got, $500,000 worth of equipment that I don't owe anything on.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
Yeah,
and I think about the process that in the hell that I put my family through over the last. Even 5 years, I would work 29 hours a day if I could, 365 days a year, because I am so in love with the process of building greatness. And I love that my wife doesn't have to worry about how she spends her money.
I was going to say,
anymore.
that's the safety. That's the safety. No one, you grinding is that safety so that you don't go back there. And that's.
And more than anybody can do it.
Yeah.
Anybody can do exactly what I did. The problem is a lot of owner operators are fucking lazy. Mentally, they're lazy. They do amazing work. The quality of their work is amazing.
But it shuts down. When the job's done, it shuts off. Yeah, they turn the key off.
When I'm done in the job, when I'm done in the field after 10 hours of work, I'm back in the
here.
office.
I was going to say back here, yeah. Yep, that's just the way it is.
So,
well,
the systems and all that stuff, I pray that I can develop this so I can help thousands and thousands of people. That's my biggest goal, and whether I give it away or I charge $100 or $10,000 for the system, I don't know. But it is in the works. If I was smarter paperwork wise and being able to.
I thought you were just going to say in general. I was going to say, yeah, I know.
Look, there was a reason we won an award last year, and it wasn't because of the quality of the work we did. It was because my wife is phenomenal at
Get Out. I seen the pictures. To Get Out, it was good work. Listen, man, you're gonna have to stop eating so much humble pie because it was really good, and I was super proud that you guys were up there and had that award. This year, I'm gonna try to get one from you, though. Honestly,
we go try again too.
So, man, we got some good time logging us this podcast. I want to do this again. I like to do you and I every 6 months, if not sooner, or whatever. I know. Sometimes we get on Maker's Mark and the conversations get a little really in depth. Those are the good ones. Those are the real good ones.
We'll have to do a night podcast one time while we're drinking. But think about it like this.
Then I gotta check. Then I'm gonna have to check the explicit box for iTunes when this bad boy loads up on there. I can tell you that much because our mouths both get going. So if you could tell somebody over this year what you've learned or whatever or however, because I want you to close off with some words. We're getting to the end of this session. What would it be just this year? It's 2020, man, and it was pretty effed up. I'm gonna be honest with you, and not only just for the whole world, but just in general, crazy shit happened. Just some advice, because this is our first kind of. I made it through 2008, but I was just starting out and was supplementing. The business was starting to get going. This is our first real shot to the gut. What'd you learn? What do you want to leave people with, man?
I think that anybody coming into this industry or anybody who's been in this industry and they don't feel like they are where they want to be or they're just kind of spinning their wheels, one thing I beg is learn the business side of your company. I beg you to not pay attention to social media and the gurus out there. And I beg you, even though a lot of companies do a lot of big things, never focus on a company that has 10 years on you. Focus on where the company was when they were at your stage.
Where you're at.
Never focus on somebody that has more time. Because this is a race. And you can't compare yourself to somebody who's been in the game or has been running the race for 10 years longer than you, or 20 years longer than you. I talk to people, multi-million-dollar companies, 10, 50, $80 million companies, owners of these different companies. And I always say I'm envious of the work you do and the equipment you have. But I'm not a fool because where were you at year 5?
Yeah.
And I always, 90% of the time, I realize I'm just a little bit ahead of them where they were at year 5. Mm-hmm. And rarely do I hear about anybody starting the grind from zero. And usually it's somebody's old man that started it by knocking on doors in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
And when you look at them in 2020, they have amazingly beautiful companies.
Yeah.
You know,
systems are in place. Everything's
It's a hit.
it's getting going. Yeah, yeah, and that's what you've always preached, man. Is that, and I think that's why we connect good, and we always seem to recognize real when we talk about other people that we see or other companies. I mean that we see is starting from nothing and making it because you have to, like literally, you had to. And I know you and I are when we go to MPE, and I seen your video, about people that are going to speak or whatever. Your boy's speaking, and you better be in there. But you better, to me, one of my greatest times this last time was listening to Jim Panzenhagen striping.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a contractor, all right, and he runs the striping machine. Still telling me how to stripe. That's the class I want to sit in. You know what I mean? And that I agree with you 100%. If I'm going to need to listen to somebody, if I'm going to pay money, because I want to pay money to go see some things. I couldn't early on. If I would waste my money on something where I felt like this don't apply to my business, and I've done it before because I wanted to learn, but it was from somebody from outside of our industry. This is niche, and some of this stuff fits in. You can't put a square peg in a round hole. I need somebody that already has that's the round peg. You know what I mean? So I think doing social media the way you do, especially your YouTube videos, I love them. They're better. They're way better than any of my YouTube videos. I would much rather watch those because it feels like it's coming right from the horse's mouth. I know you've been down that road. I know your history. That's what I want to listen to. So when you do get to where you can, when you're going to be speaking and showing us all your systems and everything else, I'm going to be there, and I'm hoping that there's asses in seats because that's the kind of stuff that we should be focused on. People that have walked that path, been down there, had to make it, and I'm with you and fully agree. So just keep doing what you do. Keep making posts and keep keeping things in check. I don't have to tell you to. I know you're going to, so I don't have to tell you to. But, man, I really appreciate it. I loved seeing the videos of the house this year and the girls in the pool, and I really like seeing your family. I miss y'all, and I know Kelly's keeping everything in check and in order over there, so I don't have to say anything about that. You ain't going to be able to slough off with her holding the reins. So,
yeah,
man, I appreciate you. You know that. I appreciate your friendship, and I appreciate how real you are. We're going to do this again soon, right?
for sure.
All
Yeah,
right.
definitely.
And a little bit of Maker's Mark with it.
Last thing is always keep God first.
Yeah.
Always keep Him first.
Ain't it easy?
God is this year in so many ways, and through my life with all the heartache and negativity that's come through, always keep God first, and you'll always come out on top. And I think that's another reason why we are where we are, and I'm able to do and say and be who I am is because the guy upstairs is got my back. So
that's where you
keep God first and everything else second.
I like it. I'm not saying another word. I want you to pave it, stripe it, kill it, seal it, and then love it. That's right. I said love it, boy.